Thank you for keeping it here. Please, again, let us know where you're watching from. I see here already my director, Boniface Odhiambo, anasema ana watch show. He's here with us, but also enjoying the show as well. Emmanuel Kurgat anasema I'm watching from Nyayo Hostels. Right, within Kenyatta University. Kipkorir Emmanuel, actually. Kipkorir Emmanuel anasema watching. Ojang Mariam from... John Mariam from the UK, and he says that I shouldn't say where the UK is this time round. Nimeacha abbreviations for you. Douglas Katwa watching from the CBD. Anasema ako Kimathi House. Kimathi House, that's funny because the conversation I'm going to have next year is with Samuel Kimathi. So labda he is the landlord of where you're at. Atatuambia as well. Continue tuning in. Claudia Mololo, you're watching from Kahawa Sukari. Salome Muhuni, watching us all the way from Rongai. I'll be reading more of these comments as they come in when we are going on with the show. The conversation we're having right about now is on creating positive change in the community, the environment you're at. It is a cold world we live in, and it's easy to forget that you need to create positive change, and you need to keep that positivity going in philanthropy, in business, and in any area of work that you are engaged in. So let me get it from the horse's mouth, what he's been up to and what lessons we can learn, one or two, from what the work he's been doing looks like. So let me not preempt so much of that. Let him introduce himself, and then we get into the conversation. Buenas, Kimathi.
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Mr. Richard. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm very fine.
Yeah.
How is your year coming along? We're in the second quarter now.
Yeah, we're in the second quarter. So long as we're alive, we just tell God thank you.
Yeah.
Besides the tribulation or the challenges that we're passing through as the normal Kenyan.
Yeah.
However much we are hopeful about tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And compared even with other countries, like in the UK right now, they are undergoing a recession.
Yeah.
I would say Kenya, we're in a better place.
Yeah.
Better than most of the countries outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So despite of the gloom that is being cast, or the shadow of gloom that's being cast across the world, we should take pride in that.
We should take pride. Home is always the best.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Please introduce yourself, and then we can get into the details of this conversation.
Viewers, my name is Dr. Engineer Samuel Kimathi. I live and work in Mombasa, but I hail from Meru, a place called Tigania West, not far from Meru University. And it's really a pleasure to be in this show this morning together with Mr. Richard in KUTV.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Question number one,
yes,
which
please.
is more of a personal question, less for the audience.
No problem.
Why should I care about why should I care about creating positive change? I mean, they say even when you're getting into high school, you came through those gates alone, you leave these gates alone.
Yeah.
You came into this world alone, I leave this world alone. Why should I care? And who should I care for even?
There's an old saying that if you want to go quickly or faster, you walk alone. But if you want to go farther and be persistent in it, you have to walk as a team. So in high school and in college, definitely that is what we are advised by our parents, that you came in, which is true, we came in alone, and we leave those gates alone. But remember, what even makes you even excel in that class that you are in is as a result of teamwork with the discussions you normally do with other teammates. It's only that you just need to know your principles and know where you belong and how you can incorporate with other classmates or other team players. Yes.
So if you want to go further, it's important to
walk.
That kind of
Yeah, you have to work as a team and create that change. Yes.
What inspired you personally to get into philanthropy and entrepreneurship?
I would say is from my family background. My parents, I thank God I have both parents, and the way I see them work around with the community, it makes their work easier by redeployment, and also, you know, a simple job like a shamba work. You see that whenever they are in need of, let's say, weeding the farm or planting any crop they want to do, they cannot do it by themselves. So they have to incorporate the neighbors, they have to incorporate the community at large for that work to be easier and more convenient. And you see people from that kind of job creation, they walk home at the end of the day when they are happy and joyful because at least they are going to put something on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the source of, that joy that comes from within by helping people is more satisfactory than even having everything to yourself.
Yeah.
Because the more you get, the lesser you're gonna keep.
All right.
Yeah.
The more you get, the more you will also want, which means it's you're trying to satisfy an appetite that is never ending.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're selfish in that way.
Yes, yes.
When it comes to creating positive change in community, there is a sense of course, personal motivation.
Yeah.
But then, there's discouragement when it comes to other people not participating, or if you're trying to effect change. I'll give an example of someone trying to take care of environmental issues.
Absolutely.
You're doing a cleanup, kesho yake unapata wamemwaga tena hapo uchafu. Or if you're trying to encourage children to go to school, unapata tena wamerudi to other activities. How can someone keep that spirit up still, regardless of what is happening? As you've said again when we're beginning the show, is that there's gloom across the world, but we should take pride in that there are good things happening within our republic. How can I do that on a personal level when I'm trying to create change, but I see the people around me either don't care, don't want to participate, or they need me to push them? Just like a school class project where unafanya project, kuna yule anatokea kuangalia imefika wapi. How can I keep
true.
motivation up? Yeah.
In the first place, you have to be passionate. And as a result of passion, it will create something within you that we call patience and persistency. Those principles, they really help people impact positively in people's lives. Definitely also having an open mind, it's tantamount in any person's persona. Because for instance, as you said, you remind me back in college whereby if you were given an assignment or a takeaway cut, you'll find yourself struggling, going to the library, going and working your ass off, making sure that you have everything within the limits of the questions that you've been provided for. Then somewhere from nowhere, comes and tells you on the last day when you're supposed to hand over the following, or even the same day, please, would you kindly assist me with your answers? So that and the iron of it, sometimes they will even do it and they get more marks than yourself.
Right? Yeah. It's very heartbreaking.
You see, so...
I need all the donkey work for you to take the credit.
Exactly, and now you end up feeling a bit irritated. That's normal.
Yeah.
That's normal. But that doesn't mean that... you be mean. The only thing is that you ought to try and encourage whoever who is used to doing that to try and do it for himself, or even joining hands together and going and doing that research together. It is of more benefit. So, come to your question. If you want to impact the community at large, remember you have to have an open mind, because people are made of different characters. So you don't expect other people to be like the way you are, but you have to understand the personalities of those people prior of engaging, so that when you engage, you'll be able to know how you're supposed to engage. It's just the same way the way you handle a kid in PP1 is different from a kid who is in grade 1 or grade 2. The way of reception is different, and the way of approach should be different.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think will apply as well if you're trying to do positive change in different communities.
Absolutely.
They
Exactly.
will react differently.
Yes.
Depending on their culture.
Yes.
How's that been like for you so far?
It has been challenging, I would say, to be honest. It has been challenging. It has not been a walk on the park. But then, as I said, if you're passionate in it and you find satisfaction in doing it, it's more prominent rather than doing something that you're not passionate in it.
For sure.
Yeah.
What are some of the tangible projects then that you can mention at this point that you've been able to pursue with your efforts?
Let me start from a small beginning.
Yeah.
I remember before I got married, I had I had a project of trying to help kids back in my hometown where I've been born, and the school there used to perform poorly. And I said to myself, there's a time when by the way, I was in Juja Boys, the so-called Jake Watt.
It's now apparently we dilute your ratio.
Yeah.
Juja mixed.
Yes, Juja mixed right now.
Yeah.
So I was in Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, and there's a time when we had 1 year recess as a result of strike. And during that time, I took that opportunity to go back home and impact the little knowledge I have to the kids within the neighborhood where my parents are coming from. And I volunteered to teach them for 2 terms. And throughout the volunteering work, I had a lot of challenges because people were not believing. Others, they would even bring politics over that I'm not a professional TSC teacher. I'm not, and all that. But I had to shun away those negative comments and dwell on the positive and be consistent because I had a goal and I had a mission. And I remember they used to perform in the locality. They used to come like position 6 or 7 in the compared to other schools. But when we did the 2 terms with the help of other teachers who embraced me positively, they managed to get to even position 1 within 2 terms. And those kids, when they cleared their primary school, I normally meet with them, some of them, they even cleared the university right now. And they are really, really proud of the kind of work we did as teachers during that tenure.
Nice.
Yeah, that's just but an example, but there are other bigger projects that I've done. If I have time, I can discuss about them.
One that I was very interested in, because we had a discussion here last month.
Yes,
on
please.
A couple of discussions actually on people who are living with disabilities.
Yes.
How was that like, and why were you keen on that project?
I was keen because I'm also a disabled person.
Oh.
You're right.
I was not aware of that information.
Yeah, that's one. I'm a disabled person. By virtue, I broke one of my arms when I was young, and I know the challenges that we pass through as people living with disability, especially when trying to do some hard works and some tedious work in the society. So I noticed that most of the people living with disability, first of all, they have low self-esteem because of the way they are disregarded by other community members at large. And on the other hand, you'll find out that even the parents themselves, some of them, they even disown them. And they put them in enclosed places, like in the houses where they cannot even see the sun of the day.
Yeah.
So I felt painful about it. I felt bitter, but I noticed that most of them, first of all, I have to deal is with their psychology. How can I handle their esteem to raise the bar so that they'll be able now to project themselves to go outside there and face the world with confidence. All right? And those are some of the projects that I'm working on right now. And we even began an institution, no matter how small it is, but it's really picking up so quickly by offering training for people with living disability, from carpentry to, the normal TVET courses, driving and all that. And some of them who are not even registered with the NCPWD, we are volunteering to help them register and paying for that process for free. Why? Because we want them to realize what is their constitutional right. That's the first thing. Secondly, they also need to know the benefits that come with the PWDs, and the third thing, they also need to be empowered so that they can be in a position to be self-sustainable in their own way, together with their families and the rest of the community at large. Yeah,
that's great. That's
Thank
great
you.
effort. I mean, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Humbled about that.
You've done so far.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to impactful endeavors such as the ones that you're up to, and you've hinted in there when you spoke about going back to a former primary school or to a former to a primary school to try and create change and teach and volunteer and drive that kind of change, positive change. There are sometimes political issues here and there. I know in central Kenya, when you start speaking of a couple of issues like jiggers, for example, becomes political. When you go to other areas as well, you mentioned something else. When you go to the coast and you mention drugs, it becomes a bit political if you persist. There's that. There's also, because we're trying to institute or to try to inspire positive mindset when you're trying to create a positive change. There's also issues of, feeling heartbroken when you see the massive level of problems that we have. So if you're trying to help people with disabilities coming in, sometimes you think it's a small issue and then you realize there are deeper issues, there's structural issues, political issues. With these two problems that I've mentioned, these two challenges, political and also, that sort of heartbreak when you see how big of a problem you have to solve. How do you keep going? How do you maintain a positive mindset?
Let us begin with a political point of view. With the political politics, it has been defined in a different way, especially in Africa. Politics, when you go in the European countries, it plays a different role compared to the way we handle it in Africa. Politics in Africa, it's more of a game of chess. So we gamble around with people's lives, we gamble around with people's resources, we gamble around, But in the European, they use it as a conveyor belt to be able now to address the issues that are really affecting their citizens in their own countries. Now, with the political world, I would say that yes, I faced a lot of challenges in the political regime, especially when you're coming to the rescue of a community at large. They will call you names. They will tell you you are after a seat and all that, and they will even try to jeopardize the work you're doing in one way or another. So what has kept me moving is by placing myself strategically in every move and every motive that I do, bearing in mind my first priority is honesty in helping people. The moment you realize you're not helping people for your own benefit, but you are helping people for the glory of God, allow me to do that, for the glory of God, and you put God first in everything, and you ask for his strength and his guidance, definitely in one or another, because the politicians, they are all humans, they cannot supersede the power of the Almighty. So at the end of the day, they will attack the way they want to attack you, but eventually they won't succeed because there is someone who knows your heart deep within yourself. And what makes even the NGOs lose some trust in us as Africans is with the level of dishonesty, because we ourselves, we are not really interested in helping Mr. Richard, who is my neighbor. What I'm interested in, I need to just give a plastic show that Richard is getting some assistance, but in the actual sense, I'm the one who is benefiting myself.
Yes.
That is the problem. Yeah, that's the for the sake of publicity, and that is really affecting us in general.
Right. So we need to have some level of honesty.
Yes.
When it comes to that, and also to keep going despite of any political hurdles.
Precisely. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What about the heartbreak? Seeing how big of a problem we have. Sometimes even problems you look at and realize you cannot solve within your own lifetime. What motivates you to keep trying to solve that?
I would say a heartbreak is just like take a heartbreak like a challenge in life, and in this life definitely we face challenges, but the most important thing is to learn from those challenges. So whenever you have heartbreak, try to revise yourself, get to understand why did you have such a setback, or why did you have that heartbreak, so that now in the next phase you'll be able now to know in which method or which criteria you're supposed to approach the same issue, but in a different approach that will keep you moving, and the results you'll get will be different, and they will be much better than the way you got them previously when you began.
Yeah. Engaging communities and stakeholders, very vital for that kind of development that you're trying to achieve. How do you rally support and motivate involvement in the communities that you pass through and in the places that you do philanthropy?
How I rally, how I maneuver it is that one is by by showing what you're capable of by yourself.
Okay.
Your level of confidence, remember? And your mode of approach, your sincerity in everything that you do. And whenever you approach anyone for help, I say it again, you have to have an open mind. Don't be nagging, but at the same time, be consistent and affirmative in what you're pursuing. Eventually, people will embrace it. And once they embrace it and they see the benefit behind it, it becomes much, much easier to mobilize even the more. Remember, it's just like a job prescription. Whenever you get a job and you perform well, what makes you grow is the point of reference. If you have got a good referral, then you move forward in a very tremendous and a positive way.
Okay.
Yeah, and never fear politicians. Never fear politicians.
There's nothing they can do. They are mere mortals.
Give them the respect that they require or they deserve. But then again, don't mix yourself up with your queer motives. If you realize a politician, not all politicians are bad. It's the same way in church. Not everyone is born again. There are people who are there who are funny, with funny characters. So the same way, not all politicians are bad. There are politicians amidst the same politicians who are good and who have the mind of the people, rather than the way we are used to seeing the ones who are so loudy. Their interest is just to themselves and their own personal families.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you measure impact for the projects, charity that you do? How do you see whether you've been effective to move on to the next issue or to come back to it?
We normally conduct a questionnaire or a survey. After we do any project, we go person in person to try and liaise with the people affected and see if there is any positive change that has happened to them and their level of satisfaction. If we realize that there are some hiccups here and there or some dissatisfaction, now we try and correct them and see how we can make them better for the next phase.
Okay.
Yes.
You're saying that we need to realize that we can become something that, or we can become part of something that is greater than ourselves.
Yes.
When it comes to such level of projects, it's easy to get lost, to get lost in the process, in that maybe you want to feel like, and I'm saying this from my own point of view.
Problem.
This is not you. This is just me. It's easy to get lost and feel like you need to feel a sense of success. Yeah. Let's say we're doing a cleanup or we are trying to help kids in a foster home. There is that somehow I need to feel successful at the end of the day, and you're trying to say that you need to become part of something that's greater than you. How can I have that kind of thinking when I'm approaching change or trying to create change? How can I dissociate myself from the larger success and, ensure that the project is outside of me? It's not something that lazima ikuwe ati ni Richard. Ilikuwa ni Richard alifanya hii. Ikuwe ni kazi ilifanyika. My name is outside of it. How can I become part of something that's greater than me?
You have to have a good team with you. That's the first thing. Secondly, in my little experience, you ought to point out areas that require changes. And when you point them out, for example, if you go to a foster home and you find that the place is clumsy, so what you're expected to do is try to tidy that place. And in the process of tidying that place, let them see the difference between the way it used to be and the way it is right now. And then come and visit them after some time. Remember, this is teamwork. So make sure that the responsibility you play and even the wordings that come from the speeches that you give and the meetings that you do, it is not a one-man show. It should be a teamwork. Let you speak, let your team members speak, let them contribute and share their ideas because we are all learning. And learning is a process. And you cannot do it alone. You just have to do it as a team. So, and again, I like the way the Chinese normally operate. Chinese, they don't like taking credit to themselves. You go to a Chinese and a Chinese helps you on something that you are really stuck on. You try to go back to them and to tell them thank you. They tell you, no, 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 no. No, no, meow, 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 meow. You know, that's how they say in Chinese. Meow, meow, meow. It is us, not me.
Yeah, it's
It is
not
us.
about me.
So the moment you teach yourself not taking credit, it's more satisfactory when you go home with your teammates, because even your teammate will also feel the same feeling that you're having. Again, I say it again, it's always good to revise what you have already done. Whenever you impact as a team, if this is a foster home, you have done that, next time come, see if they have maintained. If they have not, then try and introduce like some small rules and regulations on how it can still maintain whatever you did the last time you're there.
All right.
I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, you definitely answered. Try to, give less speeches on my own and allow other people.
Taking credit to yourself.
Credit to myself as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And share that success with everyone, really, because
Yes, please. Yeah.
supposed to be a community project, yeah.
Exactly.
What areas have you been very keen on? Because there's a lot that we can touch on when it comes to creating positive change in community, but in which areas specifically are you mainly concerned with?
I'm more concerned with employment.
Okay.
I'm more concerned with employment because I believe in empowering people. If we want to even make our country grow, we need to learn how to empower people. I'll give you an example because I used to be during the time of Moi. Yeah, I was there and I could see what Moi used to do.
Okay.
And when Kibaki came in, we saw a different country. And the secret behind it, the first term of Kibaki, he really concentrated himself in empowering people. During Moi time, taking a loan was really a problem because the rates were very high. You could get a loan at 40% interest rate per annum.
That's a lot.
During those days.
So this is like 12.
When Kibaki came, remember, it went down to 8. Okay?
Yeah.
Why? He wanted to encourage people to take loans, not to service their lavish lifestyle, but to create employment. And by then I used to work at the port of Mombasa, and I remember if anyone will bring like 10 containers of mutumba, all right, and he gives enough sufficient evidence that he's going to go and create with it job employment for people, you, the elderly, the middle-aged, and everyone, he will be allowed to get those goods in duty-free. Why? Because Kibaki was looking at, if you create jobs for 10,000 people from whatever you're importing, all right, compared to the duty I should pay for those goods, I think as a government, I benefit more from the employment because one, there will be security because people are busy.
Yeah.
So there will be no nabbing and stealing from one another, robbery and all that. Secondly, he knew very well, if I empower the people, the salaries they get, I'll get the pay as you earn. Those small taxes, but they matter a lot. Again, it will boost the NHIF. The moment it boosts the NHIF, it will give us sufficient ground to even take equipments from Europe and China and Asia to service our hospitals with better machineries.
Yes.
All right? And we'll get the best medication. From what?
From creating jobs.
From creating jobs.
Right.
And that is why you remember, to own a motorcycle during Moi time, it's like owning a Peugeot 504.
Yeah.
It was really, it was for the few.
Yeah.
But when Kibaki came, he said, you know what, import motorcycles duty-free. And when he did that, the 500,000 youths that were unemployed in a year, they got jobs. And it even helped people to be able to go to their workplaces and saving on time and cost.
Right.
The fuel cost also went down.
Yeah.
So the difference between the Kibaki time And the current regime that we are in is that you find that we are not really interested in empowering the community with employment.
Yeah.
And we start with youth. Youths are not a complicated lot.
Yeah.
All we require is you make our minds occupied by motivating us. Give us a reason as to why we should come from the urban area, go to the rural, farm with the inputs you're giving us, and then give us an outline on how we are going to benefit from farming. And we realize it. It's not a battle of politicking. It's the truth. You tell us the truth. And those inputs, the distributions, they are supposed to be done in an electronical way, not just issuing out with people. You know, it doesn't work like that. You go to developed countries, anything that they want to distribute to the people, they do it electronically, whereby they know the population, they know by their identity, they know by their addresses, they know everything. So if they have to distribute anything that comes for the community, it will get to you on your doorstep. That is how you're supposed to embrace the living today. And that's what I'm trying to forge forward for. Yes.
Right. Job opportunities and financially empowered people, definitely probably the greatest way to create positive change in community is this many people are financially empowered, which means they can come and build projects, build businesses, contribute back, pay taxes. That's a lot of benefits. I can't even exhaust.
A lot.
Yeah.
And no one will feel the pain of even paying the taxes.
Yeah, because I have enough.
Exactly.
You know, I have enough to pay. Right. Only difference is that I'll get into the regime conversation later. In the newspaper section. Here we are talking positivity only. So job creation involves, as well as in the empowerment, involves skill development. Do you have that? Do you have an approach to skill development, skill building programs?
We are not really strongly capacitated right now.
Okay.
But then with the humble beginning we are having, because I remember I even tried to come up with a project back in Tigania West constituency by getting a macadamia crushing machine that would have employed like 1,000 people in a year. Someone who has never stepped in school, that casual laborer will be, and who has a wife and who has a husband and they have children, will at least get a minimum of 15,000 shillings per month, all right, on a 1-year contract, whereby in 1 year you should be in a position to have planned yourself how you're supposed now to go outside there and also have that kind of job creation, or even try and build them on career-wise by training them how they're supposed to do it once the year elapses, because you're not coming back to the factory to create job for other people who did not get the opportunity. You'll be able now to go and build the society outside there. And when I remember I came with this project and I approached my local member of parliament, he was remorseful about it. He was not interested at all. And with our 1,000 people, you can imagine the kind of impact it would have created. We had even gone ahead and partnered with Meru University, and they were willing to lease to us about 2 acres of land within the institution. And we were in the process. By then, Moses Kuria was the Minister of Trade. We're in the process of approaching Moses Kuria, the CS, then, to at least finance us with some substantial amount of money to set up the infrastructure. And we were to do even sort of a research institute within, so that we specialize in the macadamia and try to empower the community at large, how they're supposed to harvest those macadamia and come up with an even better genetical process on improvising or improving our macadamia nuts that will be in a position to compete with the rest of the world in the competitive world, right? So it was shut down. Unfortunately, it was shut. So I never gave up. That is a setback I'm trying to tell you about.
Right, nice.
I never gave up. What I did is I sat down with my team and we asked ourselves, which other way can we approach so that we'll be in a position to set up whatever we are planning to set up. We say now, because that was a big startup, let us start from small and let us specialize with the persons with disability first, and they are the people who are less fortunate, who cannot afford to go to school, by giving them training programs at a very fair fee. You can imagine someone can be trained to do sewing and knitting using the machine at 10,000 per year, and a year we have 3 terms, but we only charge you 10,000.
So that's like 3,000 a term.
That is like almost
internet. Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we don't have donors as we speak right now.
Oh.
We are using our own pockets.
Bootstrapping to success.
Yes, we are servicing the teachers who are there. We are trying to service them with the little we have, and the money that comes on board, it normally comes there for feeding program, because these are children and people who are supposed to feed on daily basis. So that's the purpose of that money they are paying. But the rest, from materials and the rest, we just have to sacrifice our own salaries, sacrifice our own incomes to make sure that it's up and going.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, it will be a success.
It will.
Very soon it will be a success.
I just realized we glossed over the details of the projects. Please let us know what that is and where it is happening. And for the people who might be wondering, mnaongelea nini na inafanyika wapi? Ameshikilia sindano ready to sue.
We have a Karma, it's called Karma Institute, Training Institute. It's based in Tigania West.
Okay.
A place not far from Kianjai. There's a town called Kianjai, past Meru University.
Okay.
So in that institute, what we are trying to do is we really want to create a community that is free from drug abuse, that is free from domestic abuse, and at the same time have people create their own jobs for themselves and for their own society at large. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So people who are in that region, are they allowed or are they invited to come and check out if they want to also be part of the program?
Of course, anytime. We're even having a sports event in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
That we'll have a rerun about it. And what we are doing is that the NGOs outside there, let them come at their own peril. We'll do what we can by ourselves. If they feel in their heart they need to come and help, the door is open. All right? But because of the reputation that we have created as Africans, it becomes difficult to approach.
Reputation of dishonesty.
Yeah, the reputation of dishonest. So we rather move by ourselves and be self-sufficient and self-dependent with the little that we have. And I think that is what is happening in West Africa. They are trying to embrace that culture of appreciating the little they have and working towards a better country for themselves by growing what they have.
Okay.
That is the emotion that I'm also carrying with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear maybe one success story of maybe one person, an example, just someone who went through the program or someone whose life you touched and something happened later and now where are they today? Just as an encouragement for people who are out there.
We have a gentleman who is a member of PWD who uses crutches to walk. By the way, he can't walk by himself. And I remember the first time we met, he didn't have any kind of training, but he was passionate in engineering of trying to repair bicycles, trying to repair the small engines that are used to pump water, okay, the pumps, and also trying to also make wheelchairs for themselves, but he didn't have the training. So what we did, we sponsored him. If you realize I don't say I.
Yeah, I love it.
We sponsored him.
We love it. I should join the bandwagon. Sorry, we love it. Yes, we.
Thank you. So we embraced and we sponsored him to go to school for training at Bombolulu. There is an institution for disability in Bombolulu. And when he got the training and he came back, right now as we speak, he's the one now who is teaching the rest on how to do the same. And on his part-time, he has his own garage whereby he gets quite a number of orders and jobs to do 1, 2, 3, and he earns a salary. I mean, he earns some substantial amount of income. I remember the other day, even he came and told me, you know what, I need to get you at least a soda.
To say thank you.
To say thank you, you know. And when I mean a soda, I don't mean money. I mean literally.
Literally a soda.
Literally a soda. I felt so proud of it, and I said, yeah, that is the kind of impact we want to see in our society today. Yeah.
Right. That's truly inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Your insights and experiences, very enlightening. And for someone who's out there now watching, and you know, they're like, I'm a small person, man. I can't do what Kimathi is doing. I can't move around from Coast to Tigani to, you know, what can I do? What can I do where I'm at right now to create positive change?
Start with your neighbor. Where you come from, or even where you are right now. Start with him. Try to note if there is a challenge in your neighborhood, and how can you move around. Like, look like someone who is crazy. Get like 2 or 3 friends. You know, say, you know what, today we just want to collect some rubbish within the estate. It may look awkward or odd, but that's a good start.
Yeah.
Because eventually, with consistency and persistency, it later on grows to be a very big team, like what Kagame did in his country, Rwanda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cleaning up activity.
The cleaning up activity. He started by himself with his wife and his kids. And slowly by slowly, it built his name.
Yeah.
And he's the politician he is today.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Comments coming in from Ian Mulei, anasema interesting conversation. Kalitso Nyagwa, lovely show, watching from Tap Tengele. Tap Tengele ni huko wanafinya nini? Dollars zinatoka. Job ziko huko mingi sana. Thank you, Kalisto Nyagwa. Mugeni Nelly, interesting insights from the philanthropist tuned in from Kahawa. Emmanuel Korir, who was watching from Nyayo hostels within Kenyatta University. Anasema, mimi ndio niko na shida. How do I create positive change? So for someone who's a comrade like him, yeye anasema yeye ndo anahitaji usaidizi. So how does he do positive change when he needs positive change himself? Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible. He reminds me when I was in first year. By the way, you used to buy food called Ronaldo. Ronaldo, it's 9 bob.
Or Ronaldo 09, like the player.
Yeah, like the player. So during that time, we used to eat ugali or 5 bob and cabbage, plain cabbage, or 4 shillings.
Wow.
And you're good to go. All right. And if you will be in a position to afford at least some eggs, scrambled eggs, then you're a rich man.
Living
So, to answer his question is that it all begins with helping people what you can. Yeah. Like, for instance, you may walk around the institution and you realize someone lacks something. Okay? Like even a pen. You could be even having 3 pens. But the fact that you have assisted that person with 1 pen, that's a step. You have passed it on. Yeah. And remember, this is biblical. All right? And even the Quran speaks about the same. So, what I would say is, start with yourself by embracing others. With a little, you realize that you're even much better than someone somewhere. You may think you are the one who is really facing a lot of trouble, but move around. You will notice that you are much better than someone somewhere. Yeah. And you will try now to see how can you be able to help that person with the little resources that you have. Yeah. The moment you start that, it becomes a behavior. Eventually it becomes a character within you. Yeah. Yes.
So, Emmanuel, tafadhali, buy 5 Ronaldos. I don't know. I don't know if in KU there are Ronaldos.
Right now, life has really gone high. Yeah, I know Nyayo. I used to visit KU when we were in JKUAT. Yeah.
We don't want to get into the details of
no, please don't.
But yes, Emmanuel, you can buy like lunch for 3 people in the hostel. I mean, that will take you like 30 shillings maybe, and then
a donut.
Yeah.
Ngumu, you know.
Mtu ana whistle chai asubuhi unamrushia ndazi moja. That's how you
Yeah.
And to be biblical, as you said, the more you give the more you get. Yeah. So
you'll never lack.
if you feel like you're the one who needs this help, just start by giving out help, and then eventually it will trickle back down to you.
And follow your intuition.
Yeah.
Your instinct. Follow your intuition. Don't be extravagant in giving. You may end up suffering.
Okay. Don't give and give and give without also having some approach to it and strategy. As you said, also trying to create positive change. Go back to the drawing board. Look at what you're doing, if it's working, and then come and redo it or change it effectively.
Precisely.
Now, looking into the future, how do you intend to expand your efforts to other communities further than what you've been up to right now?
We as a team, we have started by trying to approach the local institutions by trying to start by embracing extracurricular activities.
Okay.
And with these extracurricular activities, it creates that kind of network and bonding between the people outside your jurisdiction, and it makes people also have an open mind and an open heart, and they will be able now to learn new things from that. So, for example, the games that we are not having those games just within ourselves. We have invited some people from the neighboring community. We are also planning for a major event in the course of this year that we are looking forward with partnering institutions like Daystar University, Strathmore University, hopefully also Kenyatta University. It will be in a position. And when I say that, I know Meru University is already within the one that we have there. And we'll also have quite a number of big entities. Like we are trusting in God that we'll also be able to get the First Lady of our country in that activity, so that she'll be able also to mingle and interact with people with disability. We are also looking forward to also have the government spokesperson in the same event. So this is part of the growth we want. And when we are approaching them, we are not approaching them with the mentality that we want any support from them. We just need their presence, so that the people who will be involved in this activity, they will feel encouraged. Remember, what you have to work on a person with disability is the self-esteem. The moment you work on the self-esteem, then the rest just places itself automatically, yes.
They gain the confidence, and
correct.
Now they're empowered to
exactly. You can imagine when they have those big people and they are mingling with them and interacting and doing those activities that you'll be doing in the course of this year. How would it feel with that person when he goes home?
Yeah. Feels like they are empowered now, and
correct.
Positive change imewafikia.
Exactly.
Kabisa. Steve Kimathi, doctor, engineer, philanthropist. Kimathi, conversation has been very insightful, and we are trying as well to ensure that everyone out there is dedicated to truly making a difference. And truly, by truly I mean to be honest. You've mentioned something here, which is we try to be as honest as possible. The spirit of dishonesty brings us back when we're trying to create positive change, kwa sababu pia unaharibia wale wanakuja baadaye. You realize if you are dishonest and the community you are trying to help realize the dishonesty, someone else who's genuine comes along later and it's like, huyu jamaa tena ni zile clean up kama wale wengine. Huyu jamaa tena job opportunities na wale wengine walituswindle, right? So let's try and be as honest as possible. Dr. Kimathi, if there's one takeaway or if something that I've missed out in this conversation to our audience, please, I'd like you to do that on this camera.
Dear viewers, I would really encourage that let us understand that the country we are living in, despite the challenges that we are passing through, the challenges are everywhere in the world. The moment we learn to appreciate where we come from, our ethnicity, and how we move and how we do things in our country, that is the beginning of us now creating change, not only within ourselves, but into the whole country at large. Another thing I'll ask is that we are the ones who made a choice during the 2022 general elections. Let us allow the leaders that we have, starting with our beloved president, to do his work, and let us see how it happens, because there's time for everything. And for everything, there must be a beginning and an end towards it. But what we're asking for, let us concentrate on how we can impact one another, Remember, the president will not come in your house and give you food. You're the one who will have to go outside there and try and get yourself a job, create jobs, and also embrace humanity and embrace to help one another and impact other people's lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Engineer Samuel Kimathi. Just final comments here. Red Tana, very informative. Emmanuel Masinde, nice conversation. Douglas Katwa, haujamuuliza swali ya Kimathi House. Si yeye. Relax. Thank you for joining in for that conversation. Wilfrida Murenga, always looking forward to Biashara Tuesday. Very informative and thoughtful as well. I had seen a comment from Favor, but I don't see it yet. I'll check it as we continue with the show. Just one last thing for anyone who would like to, I don't know if you're open for that, collaborations in communities, people would like to reach out to you, joining in the efforts. Is that something that you're open to, and how can they reach out?
On the side of the level we are right now, we are working on volunteership. So anyone who wants to reach out to us, we go and work and help these people, these vulnerable people, the people living with disability. Believe me, the door is open wide and wide. But eventually, definitely with time, we have those considerations of that if we get more muscles and more resources, we will have to employ people on permanent basis, so that now we make sure that these people are well helped, not only within our community back in Meru, but even in the whole country at large.
Okay.
Yes.
So reach out on his social platforms?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Engineer Samuel Kimathi.
Yes.
Asante sana for creating time for me this morning.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Mr. Richard.
This has been
truly am humbled, and I appreciate you.
Yes. This has been a lovely conversation.
Yes.
I'm inspired to create change in my community.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you.
Taking a short break. And then when I'm back, I have Dennis Kimani. I also have Kimani Washira for that conversation on the dailies. What is happening in our world? We are trying to create positivity, so we look at the headlines, what has developed in the world of politics and in the world of business. We'll have that conversation on the hashtag Biashara Tuesday. Don't go too far.